Humidex 34 outside today. Inside Sal's room last night, the atmosphere was somehow even hotter. Not because of the weather, not because of the prize money, because the room was alive. People laughing, people chirping, banter carrying through the entire building. And right in the middle of it all, a brand new player raised his hand and asked the table if he could go pee. Lovely day, poker enthusiast. And yeah, that actually happened. Last night at Sal's room, the Wednesday $20 double rebuy fired off with 16 players. They added 20 rebuys. A perfectly solid Wednesday night. But the numbers aren't really what I remember. What I remember is the noise, the laughter, the tables talking back and forth, people giving each other the gears. Every few minutes another roar would come from somewhere in the room. It felt electric, and maybe it is because we are getting close to the end of season 7, but I found myself sitting there and really noticing it. This little poker room was alive. Alive? But you're out there with 16 players laughing and carrying on. I'm in here with one working light bulb, a security monitor, and a skull wearing my hat. Your lights do appear to be getting dimmer. Getting dimmer? The power company has me listed as a historical landmark. They're preserving me by candlelight. We'll come back to your electrical problems, because last night we had a couple of visitors. Devon Shute was there. Devon had just returned from a little European vacation, and he brought his friend Zach Osmond along with him. It was Zach's first night playing at Sal's room, and there was always something great about watching somebody experience the place for the first time. They walk in, they look around, they're trying to figure out where to sit, when to buy chips, who was serious, who was joking. And the answer to that last question is usually everybody. Zach settled into the game, the cards were flying, the room was loud, everything was going perfectly well. And then Zach looked around the table and asked, "Can I go pee?" I immediately said no. The entire table erupted. Well, you can't have people wandering around wherever they likes. This is poker, not recess. He was only going to the bathroom. That's how it starts, Philip. One fella goes to the bathroom, another fella gets a coffee. Next thing you know, somebody asks if they can go home. Rules are rules, boy. There was no rule. There is now. Bathroom requests must be submitted 3 business days in advance. Of course, Zach was allowed to go pee. It was just one of those innocent little first night moments. He didn't know the routine yet. He was being polite, and the room grabbed onto it instantly. That is what a good poker room does. It takes a completely ordinary moment and turns it into something everybody remembers. Zach will probably never ask another poker table for permission to use the bathroom again. And I guarantee you, the next time he walks into Sal's room, somebody is going to ask him if he already went to the bathroom before he left the house. That is how you know you have officially become part of the room. Nobody gave him a membership card. Nobody held a ceremony. We just laughed at him. Welcome aboard, Zach. Last night's game eventually made its own way down to 4 players. Mike Hynes finished in 4th for $40. And Mike barely had enough time to collect his money before the tournament was over. 1 or 2 hands later, Steve Oates, Jay, and Devon Shute agreed to chop it 3 ways. $135 each. A nice little ending to a night that was never really about who won. The chop happened, the money was divided, people packed up their chips. But the thing that stayed with me was the atmosphere. And I think there is something important in that. Poker players spend a lot of time chasing the memorable hand, the huge pot, the bad beat, the miracle river, the trophy, the score. But sometimes the thing you remember is a man asking permission to go pee. Sometimes the story isn't hiding inside the cards. Sometimes it's sitting right beside them. That's beautiful, boy. Put it on a plaque. Poker truth number 47. Always use the bathroom before registration closes. That probably is good advice, especially at your age, Philip. Moving on. Online. Menace won the daily Freebuy. Jughead scooped the 550 step 1. 77 GB won the 850 step 1. The 550 step 2 attracted 20 entries. That game awarded 2 $60 seats for Sunday, and those seats went to 77 GB and Bayguy. And Z-Rex finished the night by winning the nightly Freebuy. Congratulations to all the winners. And 77GB had himself a proper night. An 850 step 1 win followed by a seat from the 550 step 2. The SummerSlam ladder keeps moving. The big game satellites keep moving. And somehow, even with everything happening around here, the online club keeps moving too. Tonight, live at Sal's Room, we do it all again. The Thursday edition of the $20 rebuy, double rebuy begins at 7:30. $20 buy-in, $20 rebuys, $20 add-on. Simple structure, affordable game, and based on last night, you might want to use the bathroom before you sit down. Online today begins at 2 p.m. with the daily Freebuy. 5 o'clock is the 550 and 850 step 1s. 6 o'clock is the SummerSlam step 2. 7 o'clock is PLO 4 cards bad decision. And absolutely no permission required before you leave the table. At 8 o'clock the 550 and 850 step 2s. 8:30 the flop and pop. 9 o'clock is Phil's Deep Stack Thrills and also the SummerSlam step 3. And 10 o'clock is Rollins Jam Smash Crash. And if you just found me and you're wondering how to get into the online games, we play on Club GG. Download the Club GG app in your app store. It's one word. Make your account. Search for club number 637546. That is Sal's Click and Chips. Join the club and send me a message so I know who you are. We'll get you pointed in the right direction. Easy game back. Come play some cards with us. Now, I said earlier that I maybe noticed last night's atmosphere because Season 7 is getting close to the end. This is episode 346. After today, there are only 4 more episodes before episode 350, and then Sal's Scoop goes quiet for a little while. We have to tear this place down, move, rebuild, reset, and start figuring out what Season 8 is going to become. I'm telling everybody to expect up to a month without the scoop. It may not take that long, but I would rather tell you the truth and come back early than promise you something I cannot deliver. And as the days run out, I keep catching myself noticing things. The microphone, the lights, the chair, the room, the little routines that became part of my life. And nights like last night, 16 players, 20 rebuys, a 3-way chop, nothing historic on paper, but the laughter could be heard through the building. That matters. Because years from now, nobody's going to remember every tournament result. They won't remember every rebuy. They won't remember every chop. But they might remember how the room felt. They might remember Devon coming back from Europe. They might remember Zach's first night. And they are definitely going to remember the night the new guy asked the poker table if he could go pee. Phil. Yes? Can I go pee? No. Good. Because the door appears to be locked and I'm down to my last bulb. The lights really are fading in there. Let them fade. A legend doesn't need electricity. Just a strong opinion and enough emergency lighting to find the camera. That is Closet Phil. Still here. Still watching. Still somehow operating without a proper power supply. And maybe that is the bigger picture today. The lights eventually go out. The set eventually comes down. The season eventually ends. But the stories remain. Last night the room was alive, and I was lucky enough to be sitting inside it. I'm fucking Phil. This is Sal's Scoop. Thanks for watching. See you on the felt, and run good, you legend.